It all started on a blazing hot afternoon outside a packed electronics store that was hosting a once-a-year clearance sale. The line had stretched down the block. People were sweating, fanning themselves with flyers, and hoping to grab a good deal before stock ran out. Everyone was tired, but patient, except for one woman in heels, designer sunglasses, and an attitude that could slice through glass. She pulled up in her shiny black SUV, parked it illegally right outside the entrance, stepped out like she owned the building, and strutted straight to the front of the line without saying a word. People exchanged confused looks, some raised eyebrows, but no one said anything, yet. As she reached the door, a calm employee with a clipboard stepped forward and politely said, "Ma'am, the line starts back there." Without even making eye contact, she waved her hand dismissively and replied, "I don't wait in lines, I'm a regular here." That's when the murmurs started in the crowd. Someone whispered, "Did she really just say that?" Another person behind her pulled out their phone and started recording, sensing drama was brewing. But Karen, yes, the kind of Karen who has never heard the word no in her life, stood there like a queen waiting for her red carpet. The employee didn't back down. "Everyone here is a customer, ma'am. We're just trying to keep it fair." Her voice got sharper. "Do you know who I am? I spend a lot of money here. Go get your manager, now." The crowd was getting restless, a mix of secondhand embarrassment and growing curiosity. But the best part? No one knew yet who was standing 2 people behind her. He was quiet, well-dressed, and had just taken off his sunglasses to get a better look at what was going on. And as she kept ranting, he slowly stepped forward. Right as Karen turned around to continue barking at the staff, her eyes locked with his, and her face changed instantly, because the man she'd just disrespected was definitely not just another customer. It was one of those hectic Friday evenings where the entire world seems to descend on the local supermarket at the exact same time. Carts clashing, toddlers crying, scanners beeping non-stop. The kind of day where the staff is just holding on by a thread, and customers are either too tired to care or way too entitled to function. And at the dead center of this chaos stood a teenage cashier named Liam, 16 years old, barely into his first part-time job, polite to the point of being robotic, and quietly dealing with his 10th hour on the register. He was the kind of kid who never raised his voice, always greeted people with a smile, and genuinely tried to do his best, even when the universe threw Karens at him. And oh, it did. She appeared out of nowhere, strutting through the automatic doors like she was walking a runway, her heels clicking against the tiles like some kind of passive-aggressive metronome. Her cart was already half full, which meant she had definitely shopped in the back first before deciding she was too important to wait in the lines forming at every register. She didn't walk toward the end of the line. Nope. She rolled straight to the express lane, where Liam was scanning groceries for an elderly man who'd just asked him what year it was. No, excuse me, no eye contact. Just a cart shoved forward and a snippy, "Ring this up, I'm in a rush." Liam looked up, blinking slowly like he wasn't sure if she was serious or just playing some bizarre prank. "Ma'am," he said calmly, "I'll be happy to help you once I finish with this customer. The line starts back there." He motioned to the 10 other people patiently waiting their turn. She didn't even glance behind her. "This is the express lane," she snapped. "I only have a few things. I don't have time to stand around while you play grocery games." Liam smiled awkwardly, his hand still on the scanner. "You have 27 items, ma'am. The limit is 10. That was the trigger. You could see it in her eyes, the way her face twisted, nostrils flared, lips curled like she'd just tasted something sour. "Are you seriously counting my items? What are you, 12? The old man beside Liam slowly turned his head toward her and muttered, "Some people need to be counted out of society." Karen ignored him entirely. Her voice rose, sharp and shrill, drawing attention from nearby shoppers. "This is customer abuse. I'm going to report you. Do you even know who I am?" Liam didn't flinch. He just kept scanning the last couple of items for the older man and handed him his receipt with a quiet, "Have a great evening, sir." Then he turned back to Karen, completely unfazed by her screeching. "Ma'am, I need you to go to the end of the line. I can't skip customers." She rolled her eyes so hard you could almost hear them. "Unbelievable. I'm calling corporate. I'll have your job by tomorrow." She whipped out her phone and started recording. Not herself, mind you, But Liam. The camera pointed straight at his face while she narrated in a loud, dramatic tone. This teenage boy just refused to serve me. I was discriminated against. This is harassment. People nearby started murmuring. One lady whispered, "Is she serious?" While a dad holding his toddler muttered, "Poor kid's just doing his job." But Karen wasn't hearing any of that. She was too busy making her viral TikTok debut. "This boy's name is Liam. He thinks he's better than customers. Let's make sure he never works here again." Liam, standing there like a brick wall of calm, finally said, "Ma'am, I'm happy to call my manager if you have a complaint, but I'm not serving you out of order. I can't do that to the people who've been waiting." Now, anyone else might have backed down at that point. But Karen? Nope. She doubled down. "Call your manager. Go ahead. I'll be happy to explain to them how rude you were. And I'll record that too." So Liam picked up the little black walkie clipped to his belt and called for backup. And oh, did backup arrive. The manager, Emily, was barely 5 feet tall, mid-30s, and radiated calm authority like she'd been born for retail warfare. She walked up, looked at Karen's cart, then looked at the line. "Ma'am," she said evenly, "this lane has a limit, and we don't allow line cutting." Karen waved her phone like it was a badge of justice. "This boy was extremely rude. I'm a paying customer. He refused to serve me." Emily didn't even blink. "He did the right thing. We stand behind him." And that was when Karen lost it. Her voice jumped an octave. "You're siding with a teenager over a paying adult? You don't deserve your job either." Emily didn't raise her voice. She didn't argue. She simply pulled out her phone and said, "Would you like me to call mall security or the police?" That shut Karen up for exactly 2 seconds. Then she muttered, "Unbelievable," under her breath and stormed off, still filming, but now facing the wrong direction, capturing her own angry reflection in the freezer glass as she stomped past the frozen peas. The best part? The moment she disappeared, a round of spontaneous applause broke out in the checkout line. People were cheering, laughing. One guy even whistled like it was a sold-out concert. And Liam? He just smiled, turned to the next customer, and said, "Sorry for the delay. How's your day going?" But it didn't end there. 2 days later, Liam came into work like usual and found a note taped to his register. It was from the elderly man he'd helped that day. It read, "You stood up for yourself with class. You reminded all of us that kindness isn't weakness." Inside the note was a $20 bill and a coupon for his favorite energy drink. Turns out, the old man had been a retired teacher, and he knew how hard it was for young people to stand up to entitled adults. Liam was stunned, touched beyond words. Emily just patted him on the back and said, "Keep being awesome." As for Karen, her video did go viral, but not in the way she hoped. Turns out, someone else had recorded the entire scene from the candy aisle, capturing her meltdown from a side angle. It was uploaded to Reddit, titled, "Entitled Woman Harasses Teen Cashier for Doing His Job." Within hours, the comments exploded. People praised Liam's calm. Others called out Karen's behavior. And of course, the internet did its thing, turning her exaggerated reaction into meme material. Someone even auto-tuned her rant into a remix. It had over 1 million views by the next week. And the cherry on top? The store posted an official statement on their page praising Liam's professionalism and confirming that their employees had full authority to refuse service to anyone who was abusive or attempted to skip in line. Liam became something of a local hero. Parents pointed him out to their kids, saying, "See that boy? He stood up to a Karen and stayed cool." And while Liam still scanned groceries every evening, he did so with a quiet confidence and a reputation that even the most entitled customer couldn't touch. What Karen didn't realize that day was that sometimes, the quietest people carry the strongest backbone. And when you mess with someone just trying to do their job, you might find yourself at the center of a viral story, for all the wrong reasons. It was the grand opening of a new discount electronics megastore, and the crowd outside was massive. People had been lining up since 4 a.m., bundled in hoodies, holding coffee cups, chatting about the best deals they were hoping to grab. $199 TVs, $20 headphones, buy one get one laptops. The line wrapped around the parking lot, neatly managed with yellow ropes, signs, and security guards walking up and down to keep things civil. Everyone was in high spirits, even though the sun was just beginning to rise. There's a certain unspoken code among early bird shoppers. You wait your turn, you don't complain, and you definitely don't cut the line. But every now and then, someone shows up who thinks they're above all of that. And this time, it was a woman in a bright red coat and a pair of oversized sunglasses at 6:30 in the morning, holding nothing but a small designer purse and a bad attitude. She didn't say a word to anyone as she walked straight from her luxury SUV, bypassed hundreds of people already in line, and casually ducked under the ropes about 10 feet from the front doors. At first, people thought maybe she had a legitimate reason. Maybe she worked there. Maybe she had a disabled pass. Maybe she was picking someone up. But when she just stood there like nothing was wrong, phone in hand, pretending to scroll while sneakily inching forward, people started exchanging looks. A guy behind her tapped her shoulder and said, "Hey, I think the line's back there." She turned her head slowly, lowered her sunglasses, and gave him a look like he'd just insulted her ancestors. "I'm not waiting in that," she said, loud enough for several people nearby to hear. "I have a meeting in an hour. I'll just be a minute." Someone else chimed in from behind. "We've all been here since before sunrise." She rolled her eyes and muttered, "Good for you." That's when the tension started to bubble. The man she cut in front of looked like he was debating whether to argue or let it go, but then the mom with 2 kids who'd been in line for almost 3 hours decided she wasn't having it. "Excuse me," she said, stepping up beside her. "You can't just cut in like that. There are people with kids, elderly folks, people with actual jobs. We all have somewhere to be." The woman in red didn't flinch. "And I'm one of those people. I'm not standing in line just to buy a toaster." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Phones started coming out. One girl whispered, "She's gonna go viral for this." It escalated quickly. A guy from 3 rows back shouted, "Get in the back like everyone else or leave." Another person yelled, "Someone call security." And that's when things took a sharp turn. Because she did. But not on herself. She pulled out her phone and called someone. "Yeah, I'm at the store. There's a group of people harassing me. I need someone to come out here. They're being aggressive." Her voice was calm, but fake. The kind of calm that tries too hard to sound like a victim. People around her were stunned. "Did she just call security on us?" one woman said. "Unbelievable." Moments later, 2 uniformed security guards appeared from the sliding glass doors. The energy in the line shifted immediately. Everyone held their breath. The guards looked serious, not the kind of guys who joke around. One of them walked up to her and asked, "Ma'am, is there a problem here?" Before anyone else could speak, she jumped in. "Yes, these people have been yelling at me and threatening me. I just wanted to buy something quickly, and they're ganging up on me." She put on a helpless tone, like she was on some daytime talk show. The guard looked around, scanning the faces of the dozens of people watching. "Were you in line, ma'am?" he asked plainly. "I was going to be," she said, avoiding the question. "But then it got dangerous. I didn't feel safe going to the back." You could hear the sarcastic gasp from the crowd. "Dangerous? Really?" The mom with kids stepped forward, holding her phone up. "I have the whole thing recorded. She walked up, cut everyone, and now she's pretending to be the victim." A few others started holding up their phones too, proving this wasn't just hearsay. One of the guards turned to his partner and nodded. Then he looked at her. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to step out of the line and wait at the back, or you'll be asked to leave the premises." Her jaw dropped. "You're taking their side? I told you they threatened me." But her voice cracked slightly, because she knew it wasn't working. The second guard gestured toward the parking lot. "If you feel unsafe, we can escort you to your car." That was it. She exploded. "This is discrimination. You're all enabling harassment. I'm a professional woman. I pay taxes. I'm not some teenager loitering at a mall." The guards stayed stone-faced. "Ma'am, final warning. Back of the line or leave the store." She stood there, fuming, lips twitching, fists clenched around her purse strap, until finally she shouted, "You'll regret this," and stormed off toward her car, but not before turning back one last time to scream, "I'll have your jobs!" As she peeled out of the parking lot, someone sarcastically waved goodbye and yelled, "See you on TikTok!" And laughter broke out up and down the line. One guy muttered, "Can't believe we just witnessed a live Karen in her natural habitat." The guards gave the all clear, and everyone shifted forward as the doors opened. But the buzz didn't die down. People were still talking about her inside the store, some watching the footage that had already made its way onto Snapchat and Reddit. "She really tried to weaponize security against us," one teen said, while filming himself in the headphone aisle. "I give it 2 hours before she's trending." But what no one expected was that she'd actually come back. An hour later, just as the initial crowd had started to thin, the woman in red coat reappeared, this time with a man in tow. He looked just as entitled as she did, wearing a suit and acting like he owned the parking lot. She marched straight up to the entrance, dragging him behind her, and demanded to speak with the store manager. "This is my husband," she announced to the same security guards who had turned her away. "He's a lawyer." The guards didn't budge. "Manager's busy. You'll need to wait." But of course, she didn't wait. She pushed past the doors and headed straight for the customer service desk, ignoring everyone in sight. Her voice echoed through the store. "This place allows public harassment. I'll have this entire location shut down." The manager, a woman in her 40s with the demeanor of someone who's seen it all, calmly stepped out from the back office and asked what the issue was. The woman launched into a dramatic retelling of her traumatizing experience, twisting every detail until she sounded like she'd survived a riot. "And then," she said, pointing at the guards, "they ganged up on me and sided with the bullies." The manager listened quietly, then asked the husband, "Were you here earlier, sir?" He shook his head. "I wasn't, but I've reviewed her footage and this is unacceptable." The manager raised an eyebrow. "Her footage?" She looked around and waved to one of the guards. "Bring me the customer recordings." Within minutes, they had 3 different videos playing side by side in the office, each showing the exact moment the woman cut the line, ignored multiple warnings, and then tried to spin the story. The husband's expression shifted from confident to confused to uncomfortable. The woman just stood there silently, her face going pale. The manager looked them both dead in the eye. "You're not welcome at this store today. If you return, we'll treat it as trespassing." The woman opened her mouth to argue, but the husband placed a hand on her shoulder and muttered, "Let's just go." And just like that, they walked out, quiet this time, defeated by the very receipts they tried to weaponize. Back in the store, word spread fast. Customers were laughing, high-fiving, sharing clips, and one guy even started a mini chant, "Back of the line! Back of the line!" For Liam, the teen cashier from earlier, it was déjà vu. "I swear," he said to another employee, "it's like the universe keeps spawning new Karens." The whole event became a running joke among the staff. Every time someone got impatient or tried to nudge forward, someone would whisper, "Don't go redcoat on us." By the next morning, the store's social media page posted a cryptic update. "Please be kind to retail workers. Entitlement isn't a golden ticket." And right below it, hundreds of comments from people who'd been in the line that day, praising the security team, sharing their own clips, and cheering for how it was handled. The woman in the red coat? No one saw her again. Not in that store, not in that parking lot, and definitely not in that line. But her legacy lived on, as the cautionary tale of what happens when you try to cut the line, lie about it, and then pick a fight with security. By the time the sun set on the chaotic day at the electronics store, you'd think the drama with the lady in the red coat was finally over. But no, this is where the story took a wildly unexpected turn. What happened in the parking lot had been captured from multiple angles by at least a dozen phones. Some videos were quick, shaky snippets. Others had full audio, clear visuals, and even commentary like, "This lady's trying to play victim after cutting in line." People started posting them online almost immediately, and within an hour, the hashtags began trending. Hashtag RedcoatKaren, #LineCutterMeltdown, and the all-too-fitting #BackOfTheLine were blowing up on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. The woman in red, whose name wasn't even known yet, had become an unwilling internet celebrity. The first video to go viral was only 36 seconds long. It showed the exact moment she snapped at the mother with kids, called the crowd harassers, and tried to weaponize her fake victim status. That clip racked up 500,000 views in 2 hours. Then came the second one, high-quality, horizontal shot, perfect lighting, and it included the moment security showed up and shut her down. The comment section exploded. People were making duets, stitching it with their own KarenEncounters, remixing it with dramatic music, some even animating it for fun. And here's the thing, The internet didn't just stop at laughing, they started digging. Within hours, sleuths found her Facebook, then her LinkedIn, then screenshots from her Twitter where, in classic fashion, she had posted quotes about self-respect, strong women, and ironically, being kind. And that's when things spiraled. One user posted, "Wait, isn't she the same woman who flipped out at a Target last year?" Another responded with a video link. Different store, same attitude, same red coat. And now people were calling her a serial Karen. The story wasn't just one meltdown, it became a pattern. The internet had receipts, and it wasn't letting go. She started trending on Reddit in R's public freakout and R facepalm within hours. Memes popped up with her sunglasses photoshopped onto historical disasters. Someone edited her screaming, "I pay taxes," over Godzilla footage. And still, somehow, it got worse for her. Because the next day, she decided to respond. Against all common sense, she went on Facebook and wrote a long, dramatic post claiming that she had been targeted by online bullies and that people twisted the narrative to destroy a professional woman's reputation. She claimed that the video was heavily edited, that the crowd was threatening, and that she was traumatized by the way she was treated. But instead of sympathy, her post got flooded with comments, hundreds of them, and they weren't buying it. People posted links to the full unedited footage, screenshots of her previous public rants, and even Google reviews she'd left over the years, angry one-star essays about restaurants that refused to honor her coupon, and salons that took someone else before her. One person commented, "The only thing edited here is your memory." Another wrote, "Professional women don't throw tantrums in parking lots." And then, the biggest blow of all, someone tagged the company she claimed to work for, a major marketing firm. The comment read, "Hey @, is this how your employees behave in public?" Within hours, the company's social media manager replied, "Thank you for bringing this to our attention. We do not condone this behavior and are currently investigating." That comment alone got over 20,000 likes. And here's where the backfire hit full force. She tried to defend herself again, this time posting a blurry screenshot of a message from legal counsel warning people not to defame her. But folks were already ahead of her. Multiple lawyers jumped into the comments clarifying that public behavior filmed in a public place is not defamation, especially when there's no editing or misrepresentation. Someone even made a TikTok legal breakdown explaining her rights and how none of them were violated. The internet had receipts, legal disclaimers, and memes, and she had silence. Then, in a final attempt to clear her name, she tried to upload her own version of the video, but it backfired hard. Her version cut out the parts where she yelled, skipped the line, and ignored others. It was obviously stitched together to make her look innocent, but internet detectives compared the timestamps and proved it was doctored. People weren't just laughing now, they were angry. "This is why Karens get recorded," one comment read. "They lie, then cry, then try to sue the internet." And then came the emails. Someone leaked that her employer had received hundreds of complaints. People were tagging news stations. Local radio picked up the story. Even a YouTube drama channel with over 3 million subscribers made a deep dive video titled "The Rise and Fall of Redcoat Karen." It had dramatic music, reaction clips, and receipts for days. Within 48 hours of the original incident, her name was everywhere. And in the middle of it all, she deleted every one of her social media accounts. Facebook, gone. LinkedIn, scrubbed. Instagram, vanished. But it was too late. The internet never forgets. A new wave of commentary started. Discussions about entitlement, retail abuse, how playing the victim doesn't work in the age of smartphones. Cashiers shared their own horror stories. Security guards from other malls chimed in with similar incidents. It sparked a bigger conversation, and ironically, she became the poster child for why these discussions were necessary. Not because she volunteered, but because she made herself unforgettable in all the wrong ways. Back at the electronics store, the employees had started calling her Red Alert. They even used her as a training reference. If you ever get a red alert, just stay calm, call backup, and roll footage. Liam, the teen cashier who had dealt with her earlier, saw the viral wave and just shook his head. Man, all she had to do was wait in line like everyone else. His coworker laughed. She skipped the line, straight to internet fame. And just when the dust seemed to settle, someone noticed a new profile pop up on Twitter. Different name, no photo, but the tweets were defensive, overly specific, and very bitter about unfair social media treatment. Within 10 minutes, people figured out it was her. The tweets were screenshotted and memed again. The internet had made up its mind. She could run, but the legend of Redcoat Karen was forever etched in pixels. She wanted to go viral for being a strong woman. She got her wish, just not in the way she imagined. You'd think after becoming a viral sensation for all the wrong reasons, Karen might lay low for a while. Maybe take a break from public meltdowns, rethink her choices, maybe even reflect a little. But no, because when entitlement runs deep, it doesn't quit that easily. So just a few days after the electronics store incident and the internet explosion that followed, she showed up again. Different place, same energy. But this time she messed with someone she really shouldn't have. A sweet-looking, silver-haired lady with a walker, floral print blouse, and the kind of no-nonsense stare that could slice through steel. And as the universe would have it, this wasn't just any grandma. She was a retired lawyer with a photographic memory and absolutely zero tolerance for nonsense. It all started outside a busy bakery on a Sunday morning. The line was long, as usual. Locals knew the cinnamon rolls were worth it, and everyone, young kids, couples, retirees, was patiently waiting their turn. Karen, of course, wasn't having it. She stormed up to the front, Starbucks cup in one hand, phone in the other, loud enough for everyone to hear. "I placed a mobile order 20 minutes ago. I'm not waiting behind these slow people." The teen worker at the counter, clearly overwhelmed, politely told her the line was first come, first served. Karen's eyes narrowed. She turned to the line, scanned it, and that's when she locked eyes with Grandma. Grandma smiled. Not a warm, fuzzy smile. No, this was the smile of a seasoned warrior who had just spotted her next battle. Karen marched up to her like a storm in heels, puffed up, all fake politeness. "Excuse me, ma'am," she said. "I need to cut ahead. I have a family emergency and I already ordered." Grandma didn't move an inch. "So have the rest of us," she said calmly. "You're welcome to wait like a decent human being." Karen's face twitched. "I said it's an emergency," she snapped, louder now, eyes darting around for backup. But the line stayed quiet. People were watching now. Phones were being pulled out. Karen didn't realize it yet, but her next viral moment was already being recorded. Then came the mistake. Karen leaned in, put a hand on the grandma's shoulder and said, "Listen, sweetie, move or I'll have someone make you." That's when Grandma straightened up. Not physically, she still had the walker, but you could feel it. The entire vibe shifted. She raised her eyebrows, tilted her head just a bit, and in a tone as sharp as broken glass, she said, "You just put your hand on me. In public, with at least 10 witnesses." Karen blinked. "Excuse me?" Grandma didn't blink back. "That's assault. And if you think your fake emergency is going to get you out of it, you're in for a bigger emergency, called a restraining order." Karen laughed, awkward and forced, as if trying to save face. "Oh, come on, don't be dramatic." But Grandma wasn't done. She pulled out her phone, hit record, and said, "Please state your name and why you just touched me without consent." Karen froze. "Are you serious?" Grandma smiled again. That smile. "I was a trial lawyer for 32 years. You just gave me everything I need for a civil complaint. Would you like to escalate or walk away?" Karen looked around. Half the line was recording. The cashier had called the manager. A little kid 2 people behind whispered, "I think the grandma's winning." Karen backed off, tried to mutter something about being late, and actually tried to cut behind Grandma instead. But it wasn't over yet, because Grandma, now casually filming, turned to the crowd and said, "This woman just tried to jump the line and put her hands on me to do it. She's now behind me. I want everyone here to know what happened." Karen snapped. "This is harassment," she yelled, voice cracking. "You can't record me without permission." Grandma's voice dropped to ice cold. "You're in a public business, throwing a public tantrum. There is no expectation of privacy." Then she turned to the cashier. "I'd like the manager, please." By the time the manager arrived, Karen had gone full meltdown mode, ranting, crying, accusing Grandma of elder abuse, which made literally everyone laugh, especially Grandma, who said, "Sweetheart, if I was abusing you, you'd know." The manager took one look at the footage, turned to Karen and said, "You need to leave, now." Karen, of course, protested. "I'm a loyal customer. I come here every Sunday." Grandma raised an eyebrow. "Well, not anymore, I imagine." The manager calmly told her she was being banned for harassment and for threatening a customer. And then, the final blow, he offered Grandma a free cinnamon roll on the house. Karen stormed out, mumbling something about lawsuits and reviews, but nobody paid attention. The door closed behind her, and the bakery erupted into quiet applause. Grandma just winked and said, "All that for a scone. Imagine if she'd tried to steal my coffee." Later that day, the video went viral. Of course it did. Someone had captioned it, "Karen vs. Grandma, and she got roasted." Comments flooded in. People were in love with Grandma's calm dominance, her effortless clapbacks, her zero-chill but 100% class energy. Memes followed. One had her face edited onto a judge's body, holding a gavel that said "denied." Another showed her walker transformed into a tank. People began calling her the final boss of Karens. And the best part? Grandma didn't even have a TikTok. Her granddaughter had to explain to her that she was now an internet legend. Grandma just sipped her tea and said, "Good, maybe more people will learn how to wait their turn." And here's the thing. This wasn't just about one rude lady or one savage grandma. It was about standing up when it counts. About not letting entitlement walk all over kindness. About fighting fire with facts and just the right amount of sass. That grandma reminded everyone watching that age isn't weakness. Sometimes it's power wrapped in floral fabric. If you've enjoyed watching this wild ride, do me a favor. Hit that like button, share this with someone who needs a little dose of justice, and subscribe for more epic stories that remind us all. Patience isn't just a virtue. Sometimes it's a weapon. Don't miss the next chapter. Who knows what the next Karen might do? And who might be there to stop her?